What's up, Miami? Back to another episode of the Principles Podcast, where we talk about the principles, the values, the morals that make life go round, a little bit of spirituality, a little wealth creation, health mindset, everything. So let's get into it. Today we got a very special guest. Took a little coordination, but came through. Sneako, welcome. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
100%, man.
Super excited to have you. Actually, it's funny because when we were in Dubai, we're like, yo, we need to get Sneako on here because, you know, he kind of embodies several of the values. We could talk about several questions, dive deep into the story, and then kind of, you know.
When were you in Dubai last?
So we were there together in October.
Yeah.
October, and then we went again in June. And then after the second trip, we decided to move over there.
You both got properties out there now?
Yeah, we're renting, but I got the visa with the works, you know, set up.
What do you call the visa again for the people watching right now? I think it's a good advice.
So how do you get it, or what do you call it?
What do you both?
So we got the 2-year work visa, right? The process that I had was I went ahead and filed a LLC over there, and then I became employees of my own company, and then I got my whole family, you know, visas because we're all employees of the of Dubai, and then that gives us 2 years. And then when you buy a property, you get 4 years, and then when you buy a property worth over 600,000 or 2 million dirham, you get 10 years golden visa.
The crazy thing about it is how easy everything is in Dubai when it comes to, like, I got within 30 days, I had my visa, my residency, my bank account set up. Whereas here, when I'm as a Canadian coming into America, it's nearly impossible to even, you know, get across the border without being interrogated and asked all these fucking questions. It's crazy.
Yeah. What about you? How long were you in Dubai?
I went there twice last year, but I didn't get anything set up. That's what I think my next property is going to be in Dubai. So it's actually interesting to talk to two guys who got it set up. Like, do you have a company that sets people up with that?
Yeah, I got you.
We have a good connect.
Okay.
Yeah, his connect hooked it up. We went in person. You know, a lot of times you got to be careful because people might be scamming you and stuff like that. When in person, shake his hand, hand him the money, got it done.
What is it, like 10K? Can I ask?
Yeah.
It was around there. Mine was like 14 because I had 5 additional visas. But yeah.
Yeah, you and your whole family. That's
Everyone's going.
Your mom too. Your mom's an employee of your LLC.
Mom's an employee. Brother's an employee.
Dubai, the UAE doesn't care about it? What is she, your accountant?
No. She's actually going to be doing like shipping of our products and stuff like that. So she's actually an employee.
So do you have to pay taxes now, or like what's the?
So far what we've learned, there's 0 taxes now, but they're incorporating a 9% tax.
Yep.
If you're doing business online, it's okay, but once you hit a certain threshold in Dubai,
I think it's 300K. It's 300K up to 300K. A year, up to 300K is tax-free. After 300K, you pay 9% tax, but that's only if you operate in Dubai. So if you were running an online agency, you're not catering to Dubai customers, you don't pay that tax.
So if you're international, you're good?
Yes.
So you're
yeah.
You're
and then, but I mean, there's so many ways around it in Dubai. Dubai is the capital of, you know, moving money, but it's a great country. I love it. You know, for me, when I'm going to raise a family, I definitely want to raise a family there. The values, obviously, I reverted to Islam, and seeing Islam in a God-fearing society is absolutely game changer.
Oh, this is dope. I found another Blasian who reverted to Islam because of his experience in Dubai. I went to this mosque outside of Sartorial Shooter. I went to a mosque right outside his house, and that was the first time I had stepped in a masjid. And just stepping in there and feeling the peace that was there, I was like, yeah, this is the truth. Yeah. And then I decided over there. And then we got another Blasian over here, had the same experience.
And so did you do it based off of how it felt, or did you do a bunch of research?
I had been doing a lot of research for about a year before, a lot of conversations, and I think there was like one specific conversation that I realized it was the truth, but I was kind of procrastinating it because I still wanted to have sex and, you know, drink and stuff like that. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to I still want to cheat, you know, like I don't want to dedicate my life to it now. So I was kind of putting it off. But after stepping into the masjid, I realized like, okay, well, you know, it's more important to go to heaven than it is to activate certain pleasures right now. That's not worth it. So I decided to take the full step. But
wow,
I've been talking to my dad specifically a lot about that. Like, I think Dubai is the place where that makes the most sense to set up long term. You know, sometimes it sounds like a fantasy, like this city in the desert that's kind of built up on nothing, and there's not a whole lot of culture.
Yeah,
I mean, there is and there isn't.
Yeah,
there is Islamic culture there, but there's no history in Dubai. So it's hard to imagine like living in this really artificial, you know, fairy tale land in the middle of the desert. But when you look at everything that's going on here, it's like, what are the other alternatives? I've been speaking to a lot of rich people about that. Like, where are you going to go? I just had a conversation with Dan Bilzerian 2 days ago, and I was asking him, like, a guy is known for having all this money, and he's on the same page about, I could already tell you guys probably agree about a lot of things politically.
100%.
And I was asking him, like, where are you going to go? He's like, a lot of people don't No, like some people say El Salvador. Some people talk about Thailand. I don't really know, but I think that if you just analyze what Dubai makes the most sense. So that's the next step. I think the next property I want to get, it's actually interesting that we're on this podcast now. The next property I want to get, inshallah, is going to be in Dubai, and then I'll get that 10-year gold visa. I didn't even know about that gold visa till like last month.
It's crazy.
So I really need to, but I need to convince my dad because he doesn't get it. He's like, what, dude? He's never been over to this place.
You have to bring him there for him to see.
Yeah,
it.
you got to see what it is because it doesn't even sound real before you go there. Like what? Like there's a big tower and there's Muslims and stuff and some Romanians out there. It's weird.
Yeah, no, I think obviously, aside from the political stuff that's happening here, if you could see what's happening in the world right now, and especially in this sector of the world, you can see that it's not. We're heading down an unsustainable path when it comes to society, when it comes to the basics of morality in our society here. So that's why, for me personally, I like to diversify where I stay around the world, and that's why I do a quarter in each place every single year. So quarter here, next quarter we're going to Bali, 3 months, Indonesia. It's almost like Dubai. It's very safe. People are very happy. It's a predominantly Muslim area, and then I usually do South America because South America is just like Indonesia. People are very happy. People are very respectful, and then Q4 I usually do Dubai. And I think you should also start diversifying your portfolio in terms of your networks of where you are. I'm sure you have a fucking huge network, but going to those actual places, experiencing the cultures, getting to know the places, because if shit goes south, you want to at least know that you can hop on a private jet, take your family, and go land somewhere and have a network in all places of the world.
Yeah, 100%. And I think more in the future I would do that. I've been trying to plan out the next 10 years, but when you're a full-time streamer, which I am, I pretty much try to stream every single day. We just got back off of a 3-week trip in here with my camera and needles. It just spontaneously went to Arizona, and then we're on Las Vegas, and then Los Angeles, and then Las Vegas, and then Los Angeles. Like, there's just something that happens every single day. Like, oh, there's a Trump rally. Oh, now Ye's having a concert. Oh, now Strickland wants to spot. Like, there's always something going on, and it kind of it's like a domino effect of more things to do, and you have to capitalize on those opportunities. So when you're doing it full time, you have to dedicate everything to that. So I think that's why I have to stay in America for the most part.
Yeah,
I want to do all that, like being all over the world and expand my network and all this stuff. But when you can't really the time zone, like if you're in Bali, it's not even going to work. I'm sure that you have those problems when you're doing business. You're not going to be awake at the same time as all your employees or other people that you want to do business with. So for the next 3 years, I see myself doing the streaming thing. Maybe 2-3 years, and then I want to expand out and then start to become more of a concrete, actual businessman, like wearing the shoes and the AP and all that stuff. That's what I see more in the future. But for now, it's got to be, I'm enjoying the content creation ride is a fun, stressful, chaotic life, and I want to keep doing that for the next couple of years.
Let me ask you this. Before you found Islam, what were you studying or what were you into?
What do you mean, spiritually, religiously?
Spiritually, religiously, philosophically, whatever.
Philosophically, I went all over. I was reading Greek philosophers, a lot of nihilistic people. Nietzsche is people that kind of have a negative, a lot of atheists, even stand-up comedians. I would consider a lot of them philosophical. When I was younger, I liked George Carlin a lot. Some people call those guys philosophers. I would listen to a lot of stand-up comedians, and then you notice that they get their ideas for their sets from philosophy. And that's why I really liked stand-up comedy when I was younger. And also it's an easier way to digest it rather than read those long books. Obviously, I grew up Catholic, but I kind of strayed away from that. A lot of it I didn't resonate with. And then I was an atheist for a while. I was pretty, just this idea, I did the psychedelic stuff.
Same.
You went down that path too?
I did everything, bro. Same thing.
I have same
thing. Yeah, I don't recommend it for anybody. I think. At the time, I thought it was the way out, but then I think psychedelics, you start to realize that God's real, and there's a strange path you could take. It's not the right way to realize that God's real. I don't recommend people do that. And I remember taking it, and I would recommend it, but I think people you can find that on your own.
Which psychedelics, if you don't mind me asking?
Everything. I was LSD, shrooms,
any of the
DMT,
any DMT, like ayahuasca.
Yeah, a little bit, not a crazy amount, but yeah.
You only need one of those to get you right.
Yeah. No, I just took like, I remember it was my friends in college were doing it. Like they were like putting in a stove or something. I think they got it from the dark web
Oh,
and they had
wow.
like
Oh,
aluminum
no.
See,
foil.
that's doing it for extracurriculars, not doing it for the learning.
And they're doing it in a bong. Like,
Yeah.
and they were like, I was getting peer pressure. So I just took like a mini one and then I just saw like a kaleidoscope. Just stupid shit, you know, like trying to, you think that you're like expanding your mind. You're just getting high in a garage. It's stupid. So I don't recommend people do that. I think you should try to connect with God.
That's interesting. You said atheist. So I don't consider myself atheist. I went down the agnostic path. So atheist, you're concretely negating any God. Agnostic, you're not sure. You're like, hey, there could be truth, but I just don't know. So it's cool that all of us were kind of that, and then kind of led us back to religion again, finding God. That's very interesting.
Even for me, I was raised Christian as well, and you know, when I was in church, I'm reading, and I'm just like, who are we bowing down to? Who's this guy, Jesus? Like, this is a human. And we're like, who are we bowing down to? And I was always questioning, and I was like, Mom, this stuff is scary. Like, I'm reading it, and it's saying that we're going to, like, completely devote our lives to this one person, that and saying that this person's a God. I never truly understood it, so I strayed away from it. At one point, I guess because I was in the music industry, I still kind of am. And through my music, I was manifesting a lot. I was attracting a lot of things through writing. And I was basically talking to the devil, thinking I was talking to God.
Yeah, I was about to say that. If you're in the music industry and you're it's always...
It's the devil. So when I realized that, then, you know, and all of these things happen in my life, I realized that there's two ways to get to success. There's one with the devil and there's one with God. And if you don't believe in God, you believe in the devil. If you believe in yourself as a God, you believe in the devil. I don't care how you want to put it, you know? So when I went to Dubai, it changed my whole life, seeing a God-fearing society, since we came up on this side of the world where you don't got to worry about being, you know, things being stolen. You got to be worried about getting robbed. You don't got to, you know, carry a gun around like we do here. You don't have to worry about all these things. And most importantly, they protect the children there. And you could feel God in society. When I was walking around, seeing people drop, you know, when it's time for prayer, and people are praying in the mall, people are praying everywhere, and to see how every single Friday the whole traffic it'd be all traffic, and people would just be jumping out of their cars to get there on time, and it'd be hundreds of people at the mosque, going outside of the mosque, praying in the heat. That's when I realized that, you know, there's something beautiful about this religion. And I didn't do much research. I just did it off of feeling. I felt good about it, and I did it. And now I'm starting to learn about it. Now I'm starting to, you know, learn how to do all of the prayers and the stuff like that. But it's definitely a journey. How's your journey been since reverting?
It's been good. I don't miss the Jummah. Like today, I woke up late because I just came back from this trip, and it's been, you know, MMA every day. It's really like tiring on my body. It's like, it's brutal. I'm training like 3-4 hours a day. And then I woke up late, you know, and so did my cameraman. He woke up late because we were traveling so much. But I still made sure, like I saw my alarm and I was getting ready for the gym. It's like 1:40. Oh, it's Jummah time. Went right to the masjid, prayed. And it was so packed in there, like I'm like standing like against the wall, like trying to get a little bit of space, but it's good. And you're right. Like I'm back here now. I remember I never leave the house without like I'm strapped now. Everywhere I go in Miami, I have to wear. I'm always having my gun on me, like everywhere in the gym. And even then, you talk about how the music industry is satanic and demonic. Literally, just at the gym, the Island Boys show up. Like,
oh my
and
God!
these guys,
bro.
like, yeah, just now, like I was like hitting the bag, and you see these two kids, and they're just like walking around like with the security guard, like mean, and they have like this like vacant look in their eyes. And you know these people, like, you know, they. Even if they don't intentionally do it, they serve the devil.
Yes.
And I don't need to go too much into that, like especially like what they promote, like the incest and all this disgusting.
So that shit is the most, like, out of all things.
It's the most disgusting thing.
I thought it was
real.
It's the most disgusting thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just fine. It's a reminder, like, oh, I'm back here. I'm back here in the land where this is their God. It's the God is money and fame. And if that's what you serve, if you want to be worshipped by other people, you're serving the devil. And it's hard to imagine that this place is going to ever really properly be fixed. It's interesting seeing Putin talk about it, because he doesn't talk about it because he doesn't need to, because they're winning, man. And all respect to the Christians. I don't want to give any. I think it's very good that they have a strong religion and they believe in something. A lot of the man worship doesn't make sense to me, but I think they're very close to the truth. So respect to them, and they're doing well.
Yeah, as long as you walk with a God. You know, as long as you walk with God, I think that is the main part. It doesn't matter what religion, in my opinion, as long as you acknowledge that there's a God and there's good and evil, right? There's different sides of the spectrum. But no, that's really cool. So tell me a little bit more about your upbringing. You know, what'd you do? What was your dreams like? And like, how'd you get to becoming a streamer and stuff like that?
My upbringing, I mean, I've been doing this for 11 years now.
Wow.
And, you know, they say that 10,000 hour rule, you know, you get better at it every day. Just got to keep on continuing. And yeah, I'm starting to see a push forward this year into the mainstream, really. And it's interesting because I'm so canceled. Like I'm more censored than I've ever been, but I'm more famous than I've ever been. It's a weird place to be in where I'm kind of ostracized by the industry. I'm pretty blackballed. People like are afraid to speak about me or like even interact with me. Censored from all these platforms, but they still call me an influencer. It's this weird world where like the MMA community is like, they're finding out about me, but they're like, this influencer, well, you have a YouTube channel and I don't. So who's the influencer? Like you're the one who's making TikToks and promoting but I can't even make an account. But they still label me and they still group me with these people. And then the other influencers that they try to group me into don't even want to interact with me. So it's a strange place to be. But at the same time, like you can't, at a certain level, these people are still talking about me. Like really driving over to the gym today, Joe Rogan was just talking about.
I actually saw that today.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
like
that's crazy, bro.
It's insane to see, especially. It's a very strange position, like right now, career-wise, as a content creator, because nobody's really taken this path, and I think I'm doing a good job of it. But yeah, just got to keep working every day and try to do the right thing.
That's crazy, man. What are some long-term goals for you? And then you said you're planning for the next 10 years. What are some long-term goals for you in that aspect of things? I
always wanted to become a film director when I was 35. I think I want enough life experience to really have a story to talk about. And I realized that last night I had a great stream. I was streaming for 6 hours last night on my desktop. So there's two things right now that I do. I have IRL streams and desktop streams. So with the IRL streams, it's actually funny. Like they get less live viewers than my desktop streams, and my desktop streams are way less effort. They don't cost money. I don't need a cameraman, and I sit there and I get to talk to my camera. But the reason that they're better is after I come after like a long IRL trip, when I'm traveling all around and interacting with people, or going to Stockton to train with Nate Diaz and all this stuff, or I'm at these events and all like things are happening, and then I go back home and I'm here in Miami again. And I get to just talk to my community, the Love Speech community, to my camera, and it's way more interesting because I have something to talk about. So I think like when I'm 35 years old and I've had all these experiences and everything that I'm doing now, traveling the world, starting businesses, everything, all these fights and everything, the drama, I'll have more of an experience to tell. Like I don't think you can make a painting without seeing the world. Your art has to come from experience. And if you don't have any experience, you have nothing to talk about. You have nothing to say. So I think people, they get into content creation. They just wanted like, I want to be a content creator. Like, what do you have to talk about? What stories do you have to share? And if you don't have any, then you're just going to be another talking head into a microphone. So I think actively, I recommend people, if you want to get into this, you need to have something to say. You need to be reading these books. You need to be looking at esoteric knowledge. You need to be providing information that people haven't heard. You need to have a story to share that hasn't been shared before. So actively, I think it's really important to spend money on experiences, because in a way that's extremely valuable. I don't think people have explained that enough. And I don't ever hear people talk about how important it is to spend money on experiences, because that does have ROI. Even if you're spending like, I spent the last couple of weeks traveling, like we have to spontaneously book flights and hotels and pay for security here, or, like there's a lot of expenses, but I don't see that as wasted money. Even if I have to cancel a flight last minute, because all those experiences, you're able to share a story that you make money on, or you're able to build on that. And then more people will listen to you, and you're going to be more well-versed and more charismatic. And all that creates makes you a better man in order that people want to be around. So I think there's a lot of ROI in building experiences.
That's huge, man. 100%.
I was going to ask, you said the MMA is taking up a big part of your life now. What got you into that, and what's that mindset shift? You're like, no, I want to do this. I want to go all in.
Yeah, that was just the next step. And I think that every man watching this like knows that and feels that you have to get into a fight. You have to get into the cage. You have to face that fear. And I've found newfound confidence after getting in there and seeing what I'm capable of and seeing where my mentality is at. Even you see like Mark Zuckerberg, I make fun of that guy all the time, but you see how much better of a speaker he is now. He's been doing MMA for the past couple of years, and I just recently saw him do an ad for his VR or whatever headset thing. And the way he's speaking, he just has way more charismatic. Before you would see him like getting pressed for spying on people and ruining people's lives, and he's like just like tweaking like a lizard. But now he's like, he has more confidence. You're like, yeah, like tell me, like he sounds like a real person. Yeah. There's less lizard, more human because he got into the cage. And I think you could look at him as an example. And you know, I think it's extremely important. MMA will. You know, I'm speaking like I'm an expert on this. I'm absolutely not. Like I did jiu-jitsu just for the first time last week with, a couple days ago with Nate Diaz. I was making fun of jiu-jitsu for a long time because like people are doing the leg heel lock and like twirling their elbows on your spine or whatever, like scooting on their butt towards you. And it just looks weird. But then you realize like,
chess game.
Yeah, it's a chess game. And I rolled with a couple people when I was there. First day, rolled with Nate, rolled with all these other people. I even rolled with this kid who's like 14 years old. And I asked him, and I'm like, how long have you? He's like, I've been doing this for 8 years. And then like they're like, okay, let's roll. I don't know how to like do jiu-jitsu, but I was just like, I've seen videos. Guy maybe like I tapped out. He had me in a chokehold. 14-year-old kid. So humbling. You know, a kid.
my son's 14, you know.
Is he?
Then, yeah, so it's crazy because he wanted to do MMA. So I was like, let me take you to training. But every day I'm sending him, I can't make him go alone and wake up in 2 hours of jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. So I started going with him. And then as I started going with him, I was like, bro, this is freaking awesome. I should have started this when I was 14.
Yeah.
It's 100% well-sound the confidence. Every child should, every parent should get their child into it. That's even why on our Circle Syndicate events, we do an MMA, like breathwork and MMA day to give the men that confidence to, not only get in the cage, but do everything else that comes with it,
Yeah, I think as a man, it is our duty to protect and provide. And if you can't fucking defend yourself, you're a bitch.
You're useless.
Yeah, you're literally useless in society. Like, that's why, like, if I'm walking on the street with my mom and someone could, like, I've been seeing videos in Europe of people, like, walking up to women and just fucking pushing them, like, all the fucking refugees and shit. And if I can't, God forbid, I can't defend my mother or my girlfriend or even anyone, like, what use am I to society?
Yeah, you're useless. That's your duty and to do it. I wish I did it younger. I came to a realization that I'm 25. I'm getting old and my youth is fleeting. Well, one thing that I always repeat is like the bar, the club, parties, they're always going to be there. Like people think that like, oh, I'm young, I need to party. It's all when you're 40, you can still go to a bar. It's not going to go away. What goes away is your youth and how focused you are and your energy levels and how much vitality you have. Like that's fleeting. So I want to use this now. I realize it's my last chance to really use my youth properly before it's too late, before I'm old and my knees don't work and I'm like aching. So this is the time to really dial in, and I want to see what I'm capable of. Hopefully I can watch this back in a couple of years and remind myself and see how much progress I've made.
100%.
You plan on fighting or anything?
Yeah, I want to take a fight this year.
Yeah.
I think it's about time. And after sparring so many high-level people, it's like now I got to get in the cage with a YouTuber.
No, first off, I want to pay my respects to you for hopping in with Sean. He's a fucking animal, and he didn't go lightly on you. What was that like, and how did that feel going into that, knowing that guy's a fucking animal and knowing his character and his personality?
I understood why he wanted to do it. I've seen he's getting some criticism saying like even that people in the gym just now were telling me like, oh, he's a bully, like he went too hard, blah blah blah. I think it was important because it showed people the difference between a fighter and an influencer. Facts. And it showed like, okay, like you don't deserve those type of privileges just because you're an influencer. You don't get to skip the steps or not get your ass beat just because, you got fame and money. This is what we had to go through. This is what we do. Let's see what you're capable of. Can you stay up? Are you going to cower and chicken away? Are you going to get your security guard to go jump in? You see these influencers walking around like with security guards that look like babysitters everywhere they go. So I just decided to just, to get in there. And at the same time, like the reason that he offered this challenge is like, he's a fighter. I'm an influencer, and I wanted to do a stream with him. And he's like, no, let's spar instead. So, I mean, like that's fair. I understand that's his lane and this is my lane. So I got in there and I did it, stayed on my feet. I didn't get scared, and, I'm still here. So I faced a fear pretty much. And I got to realize where my head was at. I got to figure out like what's going to happen if I'm getting hit. Like, am I going to cower out? And I realized I didn't. If when the door closes and you're there with a UFC middleweight champion, are you going to get scared, or are you going to finish the job? And I realized that where I'm at mentally and what I'm capable of. And I didn't know that before. So I have a newfound confidence and realization of myself that I didn't have before. So I got to give props to Sean for helping me get there and realize like what I'm made of. and what's going to happen in the future. That honestly gave me newfound confidence that I did not have before. I see people are like, oh, he didn't need to go that hard. He didn't need to go that hard. Now I know how many hits I could take. Now I know like how to cover up better. Now I know like what to do when I'm taking shots like that. Now I know where my brain is going to be in another scenario when that happens again. Now I'm not afraid of that happening. So I think it's important for a lot of guys to do. Obviously, you don't need to be getting hit that hard, and I highly recommend people use headgear. But I remember I asked when I was getting in there, I was like, should we put on headgear? It's like, I don't use headgear, so. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be a bitch, so I didn't wear it, so.
Don't be a bitch. That's one of the biggest motivators to a man.
Yeah.
If you're a real G, don't be a fucking bitch. Anytime this guy wants me to go to the gym, don't be a bitch. All right, let's fucking go.
Yeah, yeah. That sort of peer pressure is important. But at the same time, guys watching, like, you know, there could be a health concern. At the same time, like, I could have got a back concussion. I could have had serious brain damage. I could have got like a ruptured cornea or whatever.
But you're not a bitch.
Yeah, I know, but it could have went south.
Yeah.
You know, very, very, but that's the reason that I wanted to do it, just like to be able to take that risk. But, you know, some people get hit in the back of the head and you, especially like the way he was punching, like, you know, it could have went a lot worse. So I don't recommend people do that. I'm saying that right now. It's going to be up to you if you want to be able to get in there with the pro. I think most pros were, I'm a complete amateur. I don't have any fights under my belt. They were not going to go as hard.
But you were training for a minute, right? You've been training for a minute.
For a couple months. Yeah. You know, not really, bro. I'm
Any athletic background before that or no?
I played soccer when I was a kid. You know, I grew up playing pretty high level soccer, but that's it. You know, I don't have any combat sports experience. It's just, you know, some boxing recently, and
Are you looking good out there? I was I was watching when you were training 1-on-1 in the corner, and you had good form and technique and everything.
Yeah, I've been really dialed in. I've been trying to go twice a day. I'm trying my best now, and it's keeping my head right. It's keeping me focused, and I highly recommend it too. Like, since I became Muslim, the fact that I've cut out, I don't drink anymore, I don't party, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't even, I've been celibate for a couple months. I'm waiting until marriage. Like, I'm really, like, I'm on my Dean 100%. I'm cutting out almost, like, even music, I feel guilty now when I listen to music. I listened to music this morning. I know you're not supposed to confess your sins, but I turned on Vultures, the new Ye album. And even then, like, when I was driving to the masjid, I was, like, reminding myself, like, I shouldn't do that. Especially first thing in the morning, because that's going to program your day, and it's going to set you on a path that changes the way you act and everything. And a lot of the music, or I mean, all the music you're listening to is it comes from a satanic industry. They put spells in the songs. You know about all that?
Yeah, but behind the beats, the 808s, I like similar 808s or the same type of 808s back in the day. They would sacrifice humans to, you know, all this type of subliminal messaging. I'm glad that you're aware of that stuff. A lot of people aren't.
It's important to be aware of that. I mean, obviously, nobody's ever going to be perfect. I'm still going to, like, if you want to be a perfect Muslim, you wouldn't even go to a gym where they're playing music because you know they're going to play music. Like, you can really nitpick, but you have to do the best you could possibly do. And I think an important step is being aware. Of what they're trying to do and how they're trying to push you towards the devil. So as long as you're aware and you stay steadfast, I think you'll be okay.
Music is a big thing, man. We preach on education because we feel like the same way education. They're trying to indoctrinate you by teaching you shit that you don't need. You know, you send this kid to school for 8 hours and they're getting programmed. So that's kind of why we created the Principles Academy platform. Kind of unprogram, make them relearn the things that they need to learn. I think spirituality and religion has a good space when you do it correctly.
That's a big form of education nowadays, is realizing how much you've been programmed and how to recondition your mind to be focused on the right things. Because pretty much everything that we've been taught was a giant lie and pushing you to be a 9-to-5 slave forever. And so realizing so many of those things and retraining your brain to be independent and be self-sufficient, that's a big part of education, just like realizing all the programming.
Yeah, 100%. So you're obviously in this industry where it's a lot of degeneracy, people basically selling their soul for clout, people doing all these fucked up things like kissing their brothers and being Muslim and dating OnlyFans girls and all this type of stuff. How do you deal with the temptations being constantly surrounded by people like that when you're out and shooting or streaming?
I think the best thing that's really helped me is just is my salah, is staying on my prayer. That's been the number one mental focus in order to step away from that, because you're right, the temptations are extremely strong. It's around you. Like, even then, we just came from Las Vegas. They call it Sin City. I'm staying literally in a casino, and you have this feeling. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie The Shining?
Yes.
The Shining is Jack Nicholson, Stanley Kubrick, one of my favorite directors. And the idea is that he's in this hotel and he's alone and he kind of goes insane. And I don't want to spoil the movie, but he's pretty much there forever. Like even when he's at this party that he thinks is happening, but it's not really happening, and it's really from the 1920s, even though it's like the 70s. He's in this eternal state of casino hotel party, and that's what I realized when I almost felt the same when I was in this casino, because they designed it like a maze. You're not supposed to be able to figure your way out.
There's nothing.
You can't see the windows. There's no view of the outside. You don't really need to leave. The restaurants are all there. Right, there's clothing restaurants there. The hotel, like they'll give you a free room if you gamble enough.
Free drinks if you gamble
enough. So it's designed to keep you there forever. And then every time I go there, I see the exact same people. Every time I go to the casino in Las Vegas, I see the same characters sitting exactly where they were right before when I left. A month later, they're still there. Like, hey, how are you? Like, how are you still here? The same dealers, huh? They have this like vacant look in their eyes, like, here, play, gamble. And I realized that this is exactly like The Shining. And the only thing that's helping me stay away from all that, because the temptation's strong, like, oh, just play a couple of hands. Come here, play. Just I go up to my room, I say a prayer, Maghrib, Isha, whatever it is, whatever time of day, and then I go about my day. And then instead, like me and Needles, we've been training at the gym. There's a hotel gym and nobody's there. That's the crazy part. Like even at these major events, if it's the Super Bowl or Power Slap, everyone's filled in the casino. There's dozens of people. People are getting swatted because they're streamers. There's all these kids in there. There's events. There's weddings. The gym, there's nobody, and it's a beautiful gym. It's you get the best equipment. There's a sauna. Nobody's using the sauna. And so if you stay focused, you're gonna have an advantage because everybody else is being programmed.
100%.
One thing we talk about is eliminating those bad habits, man. So I quit drinking 4 years ago, right?
Nice.
When you first started, and it wasn't because of religion. It just I had an incident where I'm like, yo, I got to go all in with entrepreneurship. But the reason, once you started letting go of these things, they came in flock. Like there's people like, oh, you don't drink, you don't drink. Here you go. Here's you're just kidding. You're lying. You're gonna drink next week. And then it became like 3 months, 6 months. Oh, he's really not drinking. All right, let's see if we can tempt him a little bit more. And then finally, people stopped asking. Right.
I believe that's a test from God. I think God is trying to test you, and I think it was Muhammad Hablos. He's a sheikh, and he speaks about this. Like when you leave the dunya behind, you notice that the temptations become stronger. So when you're chasing worldly temptations, you have to keep on chasing it because you never get enough of it, and you always want more of it. But when you start to leave that behind, they start chasing you. When I leave alcohol behind, when I leave girls behind, that's when all the girls are texting me right now. That's when all the girls are hitting me up and they want to spend time. That's when they're giving me the eyes. That's when they're knocking on my door. That's when alcohol is always there. Oh, just have a drink. Just have a drink. That's when the temptation becomes stronger because they want your pure energy. They want to bring you to their side again. It's all a test. And if you're able to pass the test, I'm sure that your life is going to be better.
It's a war. And this is something I say all the time. As men, back in the day, we used to have to go to war, kill to provide for our families. Now it's a mental and spiritual war above all else, especially if you're fortunate enough to live in North America. And I always say, to my woman, I'm constantly at war, even when I may not seem as is, because in my mind, there's two voices.
Right.
And, the devil speaks in your voice, and the voice from afar is the angels, is God. And that's why it's so hard to listen to the right voice whenever you're going through that. So I have a lot of respect for you for, rejecting the temptations, being in the industry. It's very hard, bro. I mean, I come from a nightlife background, come from music background. I cut all that stuff out. And now I'm really just focused on, procreation, evolution, and building these businesses to be able to create impact. Right. So that leads to my second question.
Wait, before you ask that question, you bring up a good point. When you start following God, you're only capable of creation when you're spreading positivity and when you're of God. That's the only time you're able to create more, when you're able to build things, when you're able to start something new, when you're able to innovate and make something that someone else has never seen before. That's why the temptations always try to chase something that's pure, because when you serve the devil, you're only capable of leeching. You're only capable of destruction and taking something else away. And you notice that the more you start creating, that's when everyone's trying to get a piece of what you're doing, because when you follow God, then you're able to create. And that's why they're so jealous. That's why people who serve the devil always want to be around you, because when you are self-serving and your God is money and fame, you're not capable of making anything new. You're only capable of rehashing and of leeching and of taking away and of destruction.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate real quick, no pun intended, right?
Yeah.
But why do you think that people that don't have the best intentions, that walk with, evil or the devil, they still make it so far in life?
Because they serve money and fame, and they're following the steps that other people have followed, you know, but they never make anything new. You notice that's why someone like Michael Jackson, for example, was so innovative, and why they tried to smear his name so much, because he was creating something that was new. He was dancing and making music in a way that people hadn't seen before. So they were always trying to latch on to his fame and success, and always trying to make him out to seem like a bad person, and always smearing his name. But the people that make it really far, it's because they follow in those footsteps. Michael Jackson paved the way, and then everybody else kind of just follows in that and rehashes the same thing. That's why there hasn't been a lot of innovation. That's why the music industry has been exactly the same since 2014. Hip hop has not evolved at all in 10 years because it's just the same exact. The same people have been famous for how long? And do they sound any different? No, they're following in the same footsteps. But when you start to be new, when you're creating something new and you're on a good path and you're positive, everyone's going to try to bring you on their side.
100%.
I'm going to bring a quick point before we change the subject. So on that story, I had a homie in the music industry, and this was like 3 years ago, and he gave me a call, and he's like, hey, bro, I got to call you later. I'm gonna call you, but he didn't call me for 24 hours. I was kind of weirded out. So I hit him up a couple times. Hey, bro, you good? So 24 hours later, he picked up the phone. He's like, hey, bro, I had to tell you something, but someone walked in, so I couldn't. I was like, what was it? He goes, guess who was in my production session? He was producing, he was making music. I was like, who? He's like, Future. I was like, oh, congrats, bro. That's freaking awesome. He's like, that's not who I'm worried about. Guess who else was there? I'm like, who? He's like, Blue Cross Blue Shield. And I'm like,
who?
Blue Cross Blue Shield, insurance company.
Okay.
And I'm like, wait, how does that kind of go hand in hand? He goes, they were giving us money to produce, to give to Future to make make music about drugs and alcohol, so he can get people kind of hooked, so they go to the insurance companies when they get when they OD. And he's like, I can't tell you anymore. Hangs up. So 3-4 days I'm hitting him up, like, bro, you good? Oh, what's going on? He's like, yeah, my bad. I just had to get that off my chest. And he went about his life like normal, but I'm over here like, what? What is that?
Percocet.
Yeah, exactly.
Molly Percocet.
And you know something? He doesn't even take Percocets, and he made a song about it.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause like how long you think he lasted in the industry so long? Like if he was taking Percocets and Molly Percocet, bro, he'd be nodding and slurring and
Just
tweaking.
two different drugs. One's a upper, one's a down.
It doesn't make any sense.
you up.
Sense.
Anyway.
So when we look at the current society that we're in right now, we have an evil government that is coming after the people, trying to take every dollar from our pocket that we earn. We have a society that disencourages the divine family, which is the solution to all these fucking problems. If you have a masculine man and a feminine woman in a household, and they thrive in unity and they're connected by God, there's no poisoning the children, brainwashing the children, because the parents and the family have a very strong influence on them. We also have the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry creating the problems and then giving us the solutions for it. And America's the only place where they, instead of addressing the root cause, they will give you a lifelong drug that you have to take just to cure the symptoms. Right. And we have all of these things that is just completely fucking every single thing up in this country. What is your take on that first? And secondly, what do you think is the solution, if any?
Bro, the people that we called terrorists for so long when I was a kid, they were right. Facts. You remember when, like right after 9/11, there would be like, they would put a guy in a turban on the screen, la, 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 and they'd say like, America serves the devil. And then like the guys with the bootstraps would be like, no, America's great. Now they agree, like those guys were right. You know, everyone who they called a terrorist saying that America serves the devil, they were warning us, and they were completely and truly right. My take on that is you just got to see what it is and realize that it's probably not going to get better before. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So I would make as much money as possible. I would start making money online immediately. There's so many opportunities. And yeah, I would not stay here long term. There's some people I know in America that kind of got away from it. I did a stream with Owen Benjamin recently. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a stand-up comedian who was in the Hollywood circle for a long time. He's a really funny stand-up comedian. And then he started becoming aware about the Satanists and what they're doing. And then he got ostracized completely. They kicked him out of the industry. He's not allowed in comedy clubs anymore. Isn't that insane?
Damn.
Now he performs comedy club, like he sets up his own. He's I don't even remember where he is. Where is he? Tennessee? I think he's like somewhere in middle America. He owns a farm. He's got 4 sons. He's married. But it's not, like they make fun of him and they call him crazy because he left the industry. But is he really crazy? He started his own farm. He's self-sufficient. He makes his own food.
Off grid.
He has a family. He doesn't have a boss. He's not serving anybody. He's still doing what he loves. The only difference is he's just not on TV with the other people that have to sell their souls. But they try to insist that he's a crazy man. but he really made it out, and he seems happy to me. Like, he's got his fireplace, he milks his cows, he just lives. He's completely made it out. They can't take away his property. That's one thing that I recommend that people get as soon as they start making money. Buy assets. Buy something that's there forever, because I mean, you know, watches are cool, stuff like that. But a lot of the flashy stuff, like that stuff is temporary. And if you don't have property, then that's why they have control, because they control the land. So buy as much land as possible. A guy like Owen Benjamin, I think, is doing it right.
100%.
But he's still in America.
And on top of that, with buying property, make sure you own it under a trust that's not directly connected to you, because God forbid they want to come after you for tax evasion, whatever it is, they could take your property. That's actually a thing here. That's why it's all about having a veil, having a corporate veil which protects you, where you have trust that you're an operator of, and it's not your name on title, which is very, very crucial.
If I buy it under an LLC, am I okay?
Depends how bad they want you, but technically not. You need a trust setup. There's many places you can do trust setups. You can do overseas trust setup. My buddy here has a great one. And that trust basically owns the LLC that owns the property. So it's an overseas trust that owns an LLC that owns your property.
How overseas, like Switzerland?
There's different setups depending on what you're trying to optimize for and what your goals are in life, and you know how protected you want to be. But it's definitely something you should look into. Yeah. And to all the viewers, the moment you make money, the number one thing you should spend money on is an accountant and a lawyer. That's something that we learned the hard way. And, you know, you definitely want people that in your circle around you that can help you in these types of scenarios. Because at the end of the day, you're not free if they control what you think. You're not free if they can come take your land, take your assets, freeze your bank account, which is what's happening nowadays in North America.
The crazy thing is, all this stuff is public information. They just don't share it publicly. Yeah. You know, tax structures, financial literacy, you know, asset protection, infinite banking, you know, trust. This is public information. Only the rich of the rich, you know, the richest know it. It's not passed down because our parents didn't know it. That's kind of how we have to flip the script and really, really teach people and empower people to learn this information so they can implement for themselves. After school special.
Do you invest at all, Sneako?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, crypto's doing really well right now. I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys are crypto
100%.
people. We're printing right now. We're doing very well. I got real estate, crypto, and some stock. You know,
Nice.
nothing crazy.
Nice. And how important do you think masculinity and being a man is?
I mean, as a man, it's. I think you should be thinking about it every day. I used to not think about it as much. I kind of believed in that liberal garbage that like, oh, like it's buzz or, you know, it doesn't matter. But now it's. I think everything I do now is in preparation to become a father. And if you're not thinking about masculinity and how you could be a father and how you're supposed to lead like almost every second of every day, then you're going to fall behind in you're just not going to be a good father. I'm sure you could probably speak about them. I didn't know you had a kid, but I think I want to have kids maybe in 2-3 years. So just what I'm doing right now is just making sure that I'm mentally ready, financially ready, and everything is set up properly so that I could be the best dad I could possibly be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's important to, obviously, you have to fill your own cup up first. You got to learn what it means to, you know, have a purpose and get rid of your traumas and deal with your bad habits and stuff like that, so you can become someone that your child looks up to, you know? And a lot of times people are misguided. They don't have love for themselves, or they didn't have a good father figure, you know? And so they don't know how to do it themselves, so what are they going to teach their offspring? And then a lot of people mistime it. They'll have kids before they're ready, or they'll have kids with the wrong woman, and now you're in a forever, you know, stressful situation because you couldn't keep.
That's something you get away from when you stop dating, man. I don't like that giant headache. I was thinking about that last night, like the 30 minutes of pleasure, like where it's hours and hours of stress of like, okay, maybe I got her pregnant and I need to go get a plan B at Walgreens. Now I need to go go to the clinic and make sure I don't have chlamydia or something. It's just like all these, maybe she's going to find out that I'm cheating or all this stuff, or she's going to text her and then the friend's going to be beefing. Like, are those hours of stress really worth it? And then even the number one detractor of getting the wrong woman pregnant. Like, I'm very grateful.
Worst mistake.
That never happened, because holy, like that would have been a trap that I never want to. I'm very glad that I escaped that. Very, very glad that I escaped that. And you're right. I think it's important to try to break the cycle. And one thing I do almost every day is think about how my parents raised me, and what I can do to break any cycles where I would try to pass down any
Generational trauma.
Yeah, I don't want to use that word trauma is so overused. I was trying to think of a better word. It's very gay. But yeah, you do want to break that cycle if there's any, because everybody has it. No matter where you're from or what your background is, everybody has some sort of trauma that they pass down to their offspring. And so I think an important part now is I'm trying to analyze that and try to avoid that as much as possible, and pass and just try to pass God directly to my children, you know, because you are the vessel for God for your children. They're not going to be able to connect with that or realize that without parents. And so that's the most pure form of love. I want to get away from any sort of human trauma, or any sort of mistakes that humans could pass on.
So on the flip side, you know, we talk about generational trauma, right? And it's very true. You know, people hand down bad habits and thought patterns and, you know, beliefs about money and stuff. At the same time, you can also pass down generational strengths and gifts. Mm-hmm. You know, your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, the ancestors fought freaking, you know, animals and other tribes for you to be born. There's like 2,000 people need to be, you know, in that lineage for us to be right here. So you can also pass on gifts. You can also, you know, all your ancestral, you know, dreams and aspirations that they have, you could be the one that achieves all of it. So there's a flip side to the spectrum too.
Yeah, and I think you need to find the best way to connect with how to pass that correctly, because there's a lot of roadblocks that get in the way. So if you're able to sift through all the bad and get to the good the best way possible. And that's just what I'm doing every day now. I'm just trying. That's all we can do is just try our absolute best. And so you're asking about masculinity. I think that's a very important part of being a man. There's nothing else to do with your time than try to be the absolute best.
100%. Whenever I pray, I ask God to give me the strength to be a better son, a better grandson, and a better future father, and a better business person and provider. And, you know, that prayer for me always goes a long way whenever I ask for that. I don't ask for the money. I don't ask for anything, just to give me the strength to be a better man. So obviously you said you've been celibate for the last couple months, but do you have a girlfriend of any sort? Or?
I really don't. I really don't. Like, people have been asking me that. Even my manager was wondering, like, you got a main chick or something? Like, I really don't. You know, there's some girls that I use for the stream and stuff like that, and even that's where I'm like free mixing stuff like that. But I'm really on my Dean, man. And a lot of people don't believe that. Even now, I bet you hearing me say that and think that I'm capping for the podcast.
No,
but I got needles over here in my camera. But like, I'm locked in. All I do is work. I wake up and I work. I pray. I go to the gym and then start work again. That's all I do. And I've never felt more focused than right now. So I highly recommend you guys try that for the guys watching right now. It's still pretty early in the year. What is it, February something, 15th? Yeah. You know, instead of being sad on Valentine's Day, you could have been grinding. Like, while everybody else was on New Year's Eve, I was working on my video Letter from Mecca. Like, I was literally at my desk editing a video that I'd been procrastinating for a while. Like, one of my favorite videos ever made called Letter from Mecca. That's what I was doing on New Year's Eve while everybody was getting drunk. And it's a compound effect. The more sacrifices you make and the more you work while other people are partying and drinking, I think there's more rewards there, and you're going to notice you're going to surpass a lot of people quickly. So I highly recommend people for the rest of the year, if you're struggling or you don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. A lot of people ask me all the time, like, I don't know what I want to do. Cut out all distractions, stop drinking, stop doing drugs, stop focusing your energy on different things, stop looking at like worshiping celebrities. Think about all the garbage that you program your mind to, cut that out, and then go to the gym every day, work every day, and then you're going to see your life have a massive change very quickly. Try that for a year, see where you're at.
100%.
Try that for a month and see where you're at.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
So you said right now you're not focused on women. When that right woman comes into your life, how does that look? What is your ideal woman? You know, what is your ideal woman?
Yeah, I talk about this all the time, and I'm not sure. I kind of leave it in God's hands now. And I think when it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. I don't know. I change my mind about this all the time. Obviously, I think there's a lot of boxes that need to be crossed, like, just from the jump. Like, she needs to be unvaccinated. Can't have a vaccinated wife. Absolutely not.
Yes,
I don't know
sir.
about you guys. You're unvaccinated.
Yes,
you guys are
vaccinated.
Pure-blooded?
Yeah.
Good. We got some pure-bloods. Yeah, she needs to be pure-blooded. Prefer she's younger than me. She needs to have, I think, ideally, she needs to have a good father figure, because I just don't want to have to deal with a woman who has trauma from not having a father. I'd rather, like, she's already aware of, like, a masculine presence in her life, and then it could be me once we get married. And yeah, she needs to be beautiful, pure, yeah, all those things, man. I think that's a good base. And then from there, we'll see what happens. And then sometimes to talk about having 4 wives, I think you start with 1.
Yeah.
And then you see it from there. Like, it's fun to talk about, but you start with one, and then, you know, same thing with kids. Like, sometimes we talk about wanting to have like 20 kids or whatever, but you start with one, and then you go from there.
100%.
So,
what's your definition of pure for a woman?
Pure, like not corrupted, because like the more she's been through, the more traumatized she's been, or she's been through a lot of relationships, or she's had like a lot of hardships and all this. Like that's just gonna. I want a woman who can fit into my life as easy as possible, and I think that's only gonna be possible if she hasn't been through too much like anguish, and she hasn't been corrupted yet. For example, I have a friend named Mavsar Evloev. He's from Ingushetia, Russia. He's a fighter. Congrats to him. He just won against Arnold Allen. He's a UFC fighter. And he met his wife when he was like 21, and she's a couple years younger. And they had an arranged marriage. I think they met, and after 3 weeks or like 4 weeks, they got married. And she hasn't been corrupted, and not just through trauma like a war or, you know, a death in the family, but she hasn't been corrupted by the media. She hasn't been corrupted by the English language. Like, even a woman who speaks English, there's feminism ingrained into English, where like they were like, oh, I'm a goddess and all this stuff. That will immediately corrupt her, and the more she's westernized, and the more she's like, because if she's here, she's going to be worshiping Kim Kardashian. If she's in America, she's going to be listening to Sexy Red and Meg Thee Stallion, and she's going to be hearing all these garbage ideas that just make a woman become corrupted and evil and soulless. And the more she's around this place, like she's not going to be pure. It's all designed to take away her purity. So if I can get a woman who hasn't been corrupted by any of the Western Satanist garbage that you see in the media, I think she's going to be a better wife for me.
Bro, side note, when you said all those artists and stuff, like I actually remember watching the lyrics to one of these videos, and I almost threw up, bro. It was disgusting.
Make that ass shake.
Yeah, that's
let that
literally
coochie
what
breathe.
I'm thinking of.
Let that coochie shake. Let her
No, it's fucking disgusting. So
think you the shit. You're not even a poop. I'm making it
way,
fart.
No way they said that.
I'm making a shark.
Yes, bro. This is what you say.
Cut.
So
I mean, actually, that's a hit song right now.
it is.
Yo, he's cringing like
you the shit, bitch.
hurt, bro.
You're not even the fart. Yeah. Anyways,
that's a hit song, isn't
That's
that?
my Taylor, babe.
So you said
That's who they look up to. So the more she's here, like imagine she's thinking she's the shit, fart, poop, bitch, shit, fart, twerk, coochie. That's what she's gonna become. The further away she is, if she's all the way in like a mountain and a little village and a hut, and she's just interacted with her father and her mom, and she's cooked and she's made little macaroni posters and flowers, the better wife she's gonna be for me.
Bro, that's actually
Inshallah.
so funny that you say that. You know, I was dating. I have a beautiful girlfriend. She's most likely going to be the mother of my kids. I'm going to marry her. She's from Poland. So while I was dating out here, obviously, as you know, it's fucking impossible. So I said, you know what? I'm a man of value. I have money. Let me go on Instagram and go to Poland and, you know, message some Polish girls. I found her. She's from a village.
Does she speak English?
Yeah. She's learning it now. She's really good at it, actually. But
Google Translate.
Yo,
Just let her speak Polish.
No,
man.
but the beautiful thing is, just like you said, she wasn't corrupted by Western media.
Yeah.
She's 19. I met her when she was 18. I'm 24. And it was everything that you said. We're so aligned on like all that stuff. And people thought I was crazy. Like, my girl doesn't shake other men's hands. She's not Muslim. But when we go out and we meet people, they try to shake her hand. She just gives them respect. But these types of things, they weren't bad things for her when I asked of them for her. You know, she's very submissive. She doesn't want to work. She wants to be a mother of a family because that's what she was raised with. She was raised with those values. So just like everything you said, it is so true. And for the modern day man that's here trying to date, the best thing you could do is go somewhere where there's traditional values, a God-fearing society, find a good woman, take her from her family, not in that aspect, but, you know, and you know, give her everything she never had. For example, my girl was never on a yacht before I met her. My girl never left her country before I met her. And I brought her to Dubai, and she's pure, she's good, she respects my religion.
Is she pure-blooded?
Huh? Yes. She's a very good woman. She's beautiful. She cooks. She cleans.
Hey, pull the trigger, man.
But that's literally what we've been talking about. But you know, it's actually a blessing and
Empty
a lot
the clip.
100%.
Unload that clip.
100. But listen, this is the thing. Like, a lot of women, when they see my girl, they're like, "Oh, she's a slave to him." But I give her everything. She doesn't have to work. She wants to go to Sephora. She wants to go out, get whatever she wants. I provide that. I work hard so she doesn't have to. What are your takes on that about a woman working and being a boss babe and all this shit?
Yeah, I think you know what I believe about that. I don't want her to work. I don't want her to have to work.
Exactly.
I think ideally, when she has like a 110 IQ plus, she's gonna want to do something. Like maybe set her up with like an Etsy account. Let her sell some jewelry online. Just something to keep her occupied,
Yes,
like to do.
yes.
On the other hand, see, like, I agree with what y'all are saying. So my girl is the complete opposite. She doesn't have to work, but she chooses to, and she's a business partner of mine. So you can have both sides of the spectrum, but
Yes.
you got to have the person, like you said, the divine woman, right? It has to be. It can't be for the wrong purposes. So you have there is a balance. You can definitely balance it out, but not every woman is capable of that.
Yeah,
you have to find them.
100%.
You have to dig
Yeah.
deep to find them.
Yeah, but this is like the really smart girls are the capable ones. If she's educated or something, and she's gonna want to like do something, she's just gonna get bored all day with the kids. She's gonna go insane. So that's good. Like a lot of
I
women
said,
can be useful.
mine also cooks, clean, this and that, but she's also a business partner as
Well,
well.
you honestly, I respect your relationship so much because it almost like everything that I preach. It's like you guys aren't the traditional relationship. Like your girl's a boss, but she's also very feminine, and that's what I respect about you guys. And like she's a business partner in
But she
multiple
works for you.
businesses.
She works with us. She's a partner in two
Like,
businesses.
no, he's literally like equity partner, which is a very unique
that
situation.
one right there.
Yeah, literally right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which was for me, it was like I was like, whoa, like what? Like
Who
you
has
know,
more equity?
huh?
It depends on the business.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but
Oh, wow.
I fully respect it. But in 99% of situations, that won't work. You know, that's why for me, I like traditional women. I like, not saying that your girl isn't by any means, but for me, I like a woman that's just like fully mine. Like can't live without me. Like depends on me, needs me. I like feeling like I'm absolutely
Maybe
needed.
can you live without me?
Metaphorically, but like you know, no, but your girl's a boss. Like you know, if she had to go fend for herself, I know she could. You know,
Have you seen her shoot?
yeah, bro, she's a G, man. She's a G. But like, yeah, so when it comes to, you know, your woman not working, all that type of stuff, a lot of people will say that you're what's the fucking word? What's the word that they call men that misogynist? You know, that like they would call me a misogynist because I don't want my girl to work and I don't want my girl to touch other men or speak to other men or even have social
I don't think
media.
anymore. I think 2022 people were saying that, but now people are starting to realize the truth about that. I think the pendulum has kind of swung the other way. A lot of those allegations, stuff like that, people just understand, like, yeah, you know, you work hard, you make a lot of money, you don't really want, why would you want that? A lot of that stuff is kind of phased out. So, yeah, I think the misogyny allegations have died down heavy.
Yeah,
know,
especially after like Tate and all that stuff came out.
It's not the same anymore.
Yeah, 100%. What's your thoughts on this whole LGBTQ shit in this society, and what's your thoughts overall about it?
I don't really think too much about them. I mean, they're confused. You know, they don't understand what they don't know themselves. They don't know themselves properly. They live externally. I think a lot of them, they live purely for other people's validation. That's the whole trans thing is just they only exist in the minds of other people. You know, there would be no transgender if they were just alone on an island. It would not exist. The whole dress up thing and trying to pretend it's just to live in the minds of other people. I think they're extremely confused. I think they're consumed by the devil. And a lot of them, it's celebrities trying to, if you look at the magazines and everything, they're always trying to make men look like women and women look like men. It's all one giant psyop, and I wish the best for them, and they're all extremely confused.
Yeah, I think the L and the G's, okay, we could say that, okay, whatever, you prefer what you prefer, but the rest of them are just mental illnesses. And,
It's all mental illness.
and they group them together to make people feel bad about like a trans isn't the same as a gay person to me.
No, but
you know?
even the L's and the G's, like those people have all been like, if we're gonna be completely honest,
completely honest.
they've all
uncensored.
been molested, and then now they're just confused and they're trying to act out and they're recreating the trauma that they had when they were younger. They're like, nobody's naturally gay or lesbian. It only stems from trauma.
Wow.
And as soon as they realize that, then they can become them true selves. But it doesn't make any sense. And you know, I wish for the best for them. I don't hold any hate in my heart for these people, but all of them. And if you actually ask any of them, they'll be honest. Like, yeah, they were just something happened.
Yeah, a majority of pedophiles actually are from that community. I think it's like 50% of pedophiles that commit sexual acts against children are from that community. What are your thoughts on pedophilia?
Execution.
Nuke 'em all.
Thank you. Yeah. It's funny. So they'll put a dog down for biting a kid, but when a pedophile rapes a kid,
There's people with longer sentences for selling weed than pedophilia. It's crazy.
It's absolutely disgusting. That's also why I fucking hate this society, because in Dubai, it's like you'll get killed for that type of stuff. You know, here it's so prevalent in our society. If we went up on the database right now, because it's public knowledge, I bet you there's a pedophile on this block that's a convicted pedophile.
The problem that I have is when you start teaching the children, making it okay. You see these little what are they called when they do the
Drag queens.
that, and they're doing it at children's events and stuff. That's a big problem. If you have your preferences as an adult, all right, keep it over there, whatever, cool. But when you're feeding the children, be like, hey, you can be a girl today. You can feel like being a girl today. You can feel like being. That just to me is, it's like when you ask a parent, like, would you let your kid get a tattoo? Absolutely not. But you can change his gender. Like what? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm so tired of these people, man.
I can tell by your face.
Yeah,
It's absolutely disgusting, man. Honestly,
people. I'm just getting flashbacks. I love the Middle East, and inshallah, I'm gonna go there for the entire month of Ramadan. I want to go there every day and stream every single day. Dude, all over. I really love Morocco. I love Saudi Arabia, the UAE, of course. I want to go to Kuwait for the first time, Qatar. It's just like being away from all that and just being around normal people is so refreshing. I highly recommend everybody watching. If you're tired of like the confusing, all this stuff, like everything we're talking about, drag queens teaching your kid, just go to the Middle East and test that out. If you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're anything. And if you're just tired of like the clear programming, go check out the Middle East for yourself and see the hospitality there, the normalness, just to be away from that. It was so refreshing. I didn't even, like, when I went to Mecca, I didn't see a woman's hair for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, when I went to the airport afterwards, after going to Mecca and doing Umrah, seeing a woman's hair for the first time was kind of like bittersweet and sad in a way. Like, oh man, like a whore, you know, like a whore. Where I'm joking, obviously, but like just having covered women for so long was it cleanses your mind, like being away from all of that.
How was that Hajj experience, man?
It wasn't Hajj, it was Umrah.
Oh, it was Umrah, okay.
It was Umrah. Very refreshing, and it felt like it was like a bath on my soul.
Wow.
I would like want to go back soon, and yeah, bro, the LGBT whatever, like I try my best to just like
leave them over there. Just ignore them. Live in our own bubble. 100%.
Go away.
Yeah, it just frustrates me. Listen, like, you want to do what you want to do it. But the moment you come for the kids, that's when you deserve to die. And I'll say it openly. If I had a chance to kill a pedophile, I would. There's no better satisfaction I could ever get in life from getting rid of these fuckers in the world. And this is what needs to be done. Real men need to get together. There's people that are killing people for no reason. There's people that are all this crazy crime. Why don't we just have like an execution team that'll just go clean up? Like,
hey, shout out to Kyle Rittenhouse, man. What do you get? You got like two? You got two or three?
Yeah, you got two of them. I think you got 2 or 3 of them. That shit's crazy. What's your political stance? What side are you on? I mean, I know, but for the viewers, what side are you on?
Yeah, I'm a conservative, of course. I would say I'm a Trump supporter. There's some things that I disagree with, of course, but yeah, the whole Trump family, you guys are good guys. Trump Jr. is another good guy. I need to get in contact with him. Yeah, I like all those guys, and I think that they're doing God's work. They're doing a good job of trying to save like what's left of America. So yeah, 100% conservative.
I agree. Yeah, I'm on the same side as you, even though I'm Canadian, but same side. We're conservatives there. It's crazy what happened ever since they canceled Tate, and I think Tate was the beginning of a revolution that's now happening. People starting to wake up to the truth, right? You have Elon taking over Twitter, where people can now post. You have Tucker Carlson leaving corporate media. All these people are starting to come out. Alex Jones has a platform now that he's speaking on. Right. You know, I think people are starting to wake up towards what's going on in the world. And I think Andrew Tate was a very, very big factor in that. What's your relationship with Andrew Tate?
We don't really speak too much anymore. You know, I wish that guy the best. They're doing good stuff out there. My friends at Fresh and Fit, they're there right now. Actually,
yeah, I saw that.
They're in Bucharest right now. I think they have another stream today. I don't know when this podcast is gonna come out, but yeah, best of luck to them. And they're doing good work.
Did he play a role in you reverting?
No, a lot of people say that, but no, I don't think so. I've always wanted to. There's like, if you look back at my Twitter, I was talking about reverting to Islam when I was reading the Malcolm X autobiography at a very young age. I've always had Islam in my heart, and it was bound to happen. And I just realized like that it was time to stop procrastinating and fully get there. You're right though. Like there has been a major shift and a major awakening. I think right before 2022, like things were getting extremely weird, especially with COVID. Like it was getting confusing, and to see it fully go the other way is important.
So what's your take on all these guys that are dating OnlyFans women? Like, I'm pretty sure you're friends with, what's that guy's name? The small kid.
He just called me on this podcast, Neon. Yeah.
Neon. Yeah. Is he still dating that girl?
You know, no, he's not. But I don't recommend anybody do that. Everybody in this influencer game, like these people are they're only around you when it's profitable. So many of these relationships are completely fake. They're built on nothing. There's no loyalty. It's all pathetic, and we all see it. But you know, you wish the best for people to get out of that. But nah, yeah, I obviously don't date an OnlyFans girl.
Yeah, so many guys they get so caught up with the looks, and there's something way deeper, especially when you're sharing a bed with a woman, providing for her if you're even capable of, or you even want to, or she wants that from you. But a lot of these guys that are dating OnlyFans, it makes no sense because there's so much women out there that you could choose that are good, and you know, it makes absolutely no sense to me if I could pay to see a girl's pussy for $10 a month, that's not your girl. You know, it's like she'll go post a picture on the gram before she'll send it to you. So it makes absolutely no sense. I don't know why people do it. I don't know whether they do it for clout or they just never got pussy and they think that this girl is everything to them. But, you know, I think there's something that's...
A lot of it comes from men wanting what other men want, you know, and if you're an OnlyFans girl, like, especially if you have a low self-esteem as a man, then that's what you're going to be attracted to. So... yeah, you know, you got to push people in the right direction, especially like, Neon gets a lot of hate. He gets a lot of people trying to always criticize him and say what he's doing is everyone, you know, he gets attacked from every angle. And obviously it's like he's an easy target. Like, let's be honest, he's got to make mistakes. Yeah. He's young, but you know, I'm trying my best to make sure I've started to, you know, help him out with the boxing and the fighting.
Nice.
I think it's been good, especially I could see immediate increase in his mental strength. Getting in the gym and hitting the pads. It's been good. But also, I think there's a compound effect on spreading positivity that you have on yourself.
He's just transferring the energy.
Yeah, you know, doing something positive is going to be positive for yourself. And I don't think he wanted to, like, you know, give himself credit for that. But there's a compound effect, and it's extremely important to try to help the youth, not just for them, but for yourself. And it's good for everybody.
And once he's accomplished so much as a fighter, you know, he's in that position of power. Of course, he can spread that energy, teach someone else that might have been in his position, you know, a few years earlier. So
yeah, you spread it forward. When Nate Diaz was younger, somebody probably helped him out when they didn't need to, and then you push the envelope forward.
Did you go to school?
Yeah, I went to school. I went to college for 2 years. I dropped out.
Okay, what were you doing in college?
I was a film student. And actually, you're seeing now, and I don't recommend anybody go to film school anymore. I think you could all learn it online. But if you're seeing what they're capable of AI,
the new thing that just dropped, it's fucking crazy.
It looks exactly like what you could, like, why would I need to go to film school anymore? I don't need to, like, spend all this money on filming. You could generate those images. There's 0 point, and it's becoming more useless day by day. So do not go to film school. I don't even recommend going to college at all. Like,
every single successful person we have on this podcast says that. And same thing with me. I was in business marketing for a year. Well, not even for a year, 3 months. And then I asked my teacher, you know, have you ever ran a business? They said no. I said, all right, Mom, like, I'm out. And my family's super traditional in terms of, like, my grandma was a teacher. Everyone went to school.
You dropped out?
Yeah, I dropped out.
Did you drop out too?
I completed two degrees, yeah. So it's crazy. We're on opposite sides of the spectrum, but we came to the same conclusion. You don't need to do school. There's self-education, YouTube University, get a mentor, and then learn from experience in the field. You do those things, 4 years, you can spend, you know, spending $200,000 and trying to do shit on your own, or you could spend 6 months working with someone and do the same thing or better.
What do you have any mentors, or are you a mentor to any people?
I don't know if I would use that title specifically. Of course, there's a lot of people. I speak to a lot of people. A lot of them are older, and I speak to a lot of people who are younger. I don't know if I would ever use that title. I find it a little bit, like, weird. But, yeah, of course, people would play that role, and I guess I could play that role for people. And I think it's important to get information from a lot of different people because people aren't perfect. Nobody's ever going to have all the answers, and it's good to get it from a lot of different people from all over the world, from different backgrounds who have different experiences and skill sets. So pass the information with everybody you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. Like, our core 3 businesses, we have a mastermind group that caters to the 7-8 figure entrepreneur. We do private equity, debt lending and stuff. We're trying to cater to people at different levels of success. And then we have an academy that we're building to cater to the average person that wants to get there, because alternative education, I believe, is the future. These different platforms that are coming out, these different communities, right, that you could pay to join, I think that's going to be the new future of education. What are your thoughts on alternative education and
Yeah, 100%. That's why I recommend people automatically. I always tell this to people who are watching my stream that they should, if they're not doing anything, you should start clipping a stream. It's the easiest way to start making a couple thousand a month if you become a clipper, because that's how all the virality comes from. I'm sure you guys don't even watch my stream. You just watch the clips.
Yeah.
I highly doubt you've ever watched a stream.
No, I've never.
So like the most people are seeing it from clips. And if you're actively watching, I always tell my chat, like, you should just join Active Income and learn how to edit. Like it's not that difficult, and you could start immediately, and there's always a demand for it. There's billions of people, there's billions of views around there. They're like, is it oversaturated? Absolutely not. You should definitely get in there immediately. And I recommend people doing this for this podcast. It's just like, you can do it on your phone. You could just screen record. It's not that hard.
CapCut, you know?
Yeah, bro. You don't even need CapCut. You could just screen record on your iPhone.
There's so many different tools. I mean, we have 15 editors on our team, so we understand the importance of, distribution, and it's a stream of income. What do you do, man? I edit Instagram videos.
100%. And that's something that they don't teach in school. They don't know about that. And so these new ways of making money, they're not going to be, because by the time it's going to be able to adapt to a curriculum that's for college, university, it's 15 years too late. So all the information, the new ways to make money, they happen like this in a span of a couple months. Like the AI, they're not going to be able to catch up fast enough to write a textbook version 18 to teach it in school. So you should definitely, I think it's really important to join an online community. People are apprehensive to do it. It's so strange to me how people are apprehensive to spend like $50 on tier 1 for active income. Like, what's this? But when it comes to spending like $200,000 for university, they hand their life away. They sign their life away to be in debt forever. But when it comes from like a paid program where people are clearly making money, clearly know what they're doing, and have access to people from around the world that make money different aspects like Amazon, FBA, and crypto, it's like you're really gonna double think that too much. Stop, man. You should really pull the trigger.
Programming, man. People are programmed to think that's a better move. People are like, hey, college is the right move to go. And so, because I went on an academic scholarship. If it wasn't for, someone handing me money, I wouldn't have gone to college. We couldn't afford it, right? So, we have to help people understand that. So, talk to us about active income.
Yeah, active income is killing it right now. Like these guys are making a lot of money from high ticket sales, from crypto, Amazon, FBA, e-commerce. These people are making a lot of money. It's because I have an access to such a strong network. I was able to spend all of 2023 finding like the best people in order to run it. And I teach personal brand in there. I teach high level networking, things that I'm good at. I teach content creation, things that I've mastered for a long time. But we have professors from every single avenue making money online. Active income is really it's taken over. Like all the guys inside right now. Like I see the messages now. Like these people are doing really well, and it's just going to continue to grow. So you're spot on. Like there's no point in joining anything on. There's no point in going to school anymore.
Yeah, take that money, go buy some books, go join some communities,
buy some properties, bro.
Buy some properties, right?
Yeah.
So, and I like what you did, because a lot of streamers, or a lot of people in your industry would just stay doing that, but you actually pivoted and started a business with the
yeah, and I want to grow something long term. Like I could have cashed out. I'm sure you heard me talk about it. I said no to a gambling deal that was $20 million a year. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
I was offered $20 million a year to gamble and just sit on my computer, and I could have made that money faster. But I want to build a community. I want to build people who are actually learning how to make money. There's a compound effect. You teach people, you learn, you grow with your fan base, and that's what active income is. These people are killing it, and I'm learning from them. They're learning from me. We're expanding it. These people are finding new ways to make money every single day. We interact with this community. We create a competitive nature with each other. People are trying to one up each other. It's extremely positive. It's very like, if you talk to these guys in there, these guys are hungry, and being around that atmosphere every single day, it has an effect on you. I could have been gambling, but that has a negative effect.
That's haram.
It's not even just for the fact that it's haram, but the reason it is haram is because it's literally just a negative. You're there afterward. Like if you've ever gambled before, you look in your eyes in the mirror and you see these giant bags in there, and you're just like kind of dazed out, and you see the dealer smiling at you with that demonic face, and they're like offering you the cards, and you're drinking, and it's just a negative place overall. And the reason that you make money off of it is because your audience is losing. I wanted to build something where my audience can make money, where my audience does well. The whole point, and they like, I don't know, that the other influencers say that Like, this is why they don't want to interact with you, because you call it out. But that's the truth. The reason that you're gambling is because your audience is losing money while you funnel them into a gambling site that's making millions of dollars. So they're actively getting worse while you get better. It's a complete net negative for society, and I don't recommend anybody do that. And I couldn't sleep at night if I was able to take that money. Obviously, it was tempting to click fruit and make $20 million a year.
$20 million. That's what I was gonna say. That's not a fucking joke. So a lot of respect to you, man, but I could clearly see that you're a man of principles, and obviously we're on Principles podcast. What do principles mean to you, and what are some principles?
Principles mean everything. If you stand for nothing, then you fall for anything. And I'm seeing it more than ever, especially because the temptations have never been stronger. On social media, it's so easy to sell out for money and fame and to kiss your brother for like a couple $1,000s. It's stupid and disgusting. So if you stand for nothing, immediately someone's going to be able to capitalize off of you. And of course, I've made mistakes. Everybody made mistakes. But if you don't stand for, if you don't have any principles, then you're going to crumble as a man. And I want to be the best man I could be. I want to be the best father I could possibly be. I want to be an example for my audience. To some extent, I want people to be able to benefit when they listen to me. I don't want to be like, I want people to leave my stream and be motivated and be inspired and try to do something better. Because if I'm not doing that, then I'm just a net negative and I'm serving the devil. So principles are everything. And you have to figure out what you stand for and what you believe in. If right now, if you're watching this, you don't know what you stand for, I think figure it out ASAP, because everything trickles down from there. Right now, like the reason that I'm on such a good trajectory and a good path is because I'm taking Islam so seriously. I've never been at this high point of my career, even through the cancellation. They all call me an influencer, and they don't even realize that the people that are calling me an influencer are more influencers than me, because they have YouTube and TikTok. They're gambling on these websites, and I'm not. So I'm over here on an alternative platforms, and I'm still being able to break through all the censorship and be able to inspire and get to people and be on the biggest platforms possible and be able to network with all these people and have my voice heard by more people than ever through the censorship, because I have principles and because I've been able to ignore the distractions, because I'm taking Islam seriously, because I'm more focused than ever. Because the only way I would have been able to do this throughout, because I'm not supposed to be here. When you get canceled like how I was, you're supposed to fall off forever. Like they pretty much just want you to kill yourself. They do. I've said, like, rest in peace to Too Mad. There was another YouTube creator who passed away recently. And as soon as he passed, everybody just started making fun of him. I started seeing my whole Twitter timeline, just people making jokes about how he died. It's a sick world, the social media world, because they're just going to, if you die, they'll just make fun of you for more retweets and likes, literally. Nobody was like sending him condolences. Nobody was talking about his family. They'll just make fun of you for more clicks and retweets. It's never been a more sick world on social media. And I'm not saying this to sound like I'm on a moral high ground. I'm just telling you the facts. Nobody cares about him, like genuinely. The vast majority of people are just going to make fun of him for clout. So the best thing you could do is figure out how to have a good message, because they forget about you quickly. And a lot of it's fleeting. And I recommend everybody, that was a wake-up call too. Like, a lot of people are ignoring me, and they're trying to push me to the side. It's not like an attack at anybody specific, but they're trying their best to just, they'll see me in public and just turn their head away. But if, God forbid, if you were to pass or I were to pass, that would have been our last interaction. So I recommend everybody try to spread as positive a message as possible, because you never know if today is your last day. Tomorrow's not promised.
100%.
Always try to leave with a good impact, because it's a sick world, man. People are selling out quicker than ever.
So how was being canceled? First off, how did you get canceled, and what was that like? Like, in the process, what was that like, getting canceled? And like you said, you're supposed to fall off and die. How did you rise above that? What made you said, fuck these motherfuckers, I'm gonna go all in again and take over?
Because as soon as I got canceled, like, all the YouTubers and these like YouTubers are all bottom feeders now. YouTube sucks. YouTube is a dying platform. If you look at any YouTube, there's no good YouTubers anymore. I'm not saying this to be bitter, but if you look at YouTube, it's all like these documentary hit pieces to say something negative about somebody else. Like, the title's like, "This guy sucks. I hate this dude. The reason he's insane." And it's like a picture of him looking stupid in the thumbnail. And it's like just 15 minutes of someone like, "So this guy sucks and I don't like this." And like, it's a music reviewer and they're like, "This album's stupid and Ye's a bad person." Like, all of it is just, it's all one giant moral high ground, so that, and to make the viewer feel better about themselves. Like, just, it's bullying. It's just picking on someone, like, "This guy's a bad person." And so when I saw that happen to me, when I was canceled, everyone made these documentaries about me, like Sneako and the tragic downfall, the tragedy of Sneako, and they put my face like looking like they would make a screenshot like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna let these people win. How are you gonna be able to capitalize off of my downfall? I'm not gonna let you win. I'm gonna use that as motivation in order to prove you wrong and do the right thing. And we're here now. And I'm genuinely serious. Like, it would not have been possible if I put all those things, if I ignored every single distraction. I use that as a tool, as a motivating tool in order to do the best I could possibly do. And now these people, they see me in public and they turn away because I really think that our movement, the love speech movement, is the truth. The reason that they turn their heads is because I'm gonna say something, or I'm gonna ask a question, or just simply my presence is they're gonna have to face something that they were ignoring, because all I do is speak the truth. All I do is seek it. All I do is talk about it. And they've sold out. They sold out for brand deals. They sold out for gambling deals. They sold out for OnlyFans. They sold out for porn. They sold out for whatever to make a quick buck right now. They don't stand for anything. And I'm glad that we're able to spread the truth and make this movement undeniable. What we're doing with the love speech community is undeniable.
That's crazy. So what is the love speech?
Love speech is our community. I don't see it as anything that obviously I guess I started the community, but it's just an active community. It's our community. It's our streaming community, and it's all people, like, we're on the same page about pretty much everything about what they're doing. Like, everything we've talked about in this podcast, we're all on the same page about it. And what we're trying to do is get people to speak about it more and to infiltrate all these spaces where they actively try to ignore it. So the love speech community is just, like, I would just say, our community.
That's absolutely crazy. So listening to your feedback about getting canceled and how you leveraged it. It's all about leverage, right? Success is all about leverage. Shit either happens to you or happens for you. Clearly, in your scenario, it happened for you to lead you to where you are now. A lot of people are victims to their life, to their surroundings. And I think having mental fortitude and being strong mentally and being able to leverage things that happen to you and being able to use it as a sense of power, I think that's very powerful with what you said. It's absolutely crazy just seeing your journey and how you got here and how you came back up from that. I think it's very, very, very key, everything you just said.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. Yeah, I don't want to keep like name dropping a lot of people, but I'm hitting new, like, right now my career is probably in its peak. Like, and I just want to continue growing every single day. I'm never satisfied with anything. Obviously, like, the people that I'm surrounding myself with, a couple years ago, I would have been like, I made it, I did it. But every time I hit a new accomplishment, I'm just like, okay, what's next? Like, how do I keep on building? How do I keep on going? I'm never going to be satisfied. I'm never going to be complacent. And I just want to remind the people watching, like, I'm not supposed to be here right now. They were supposed to shut me out, and they wanted me to, like, roll over and die. And I absolutely refuse to. And I hope that's information. I hope that's inspiration for anybody watching, that my career path, the fact that I was able to survive that and get past everything that they tried to throw at me, I hope that's inspiration for you guys to do the same.
What's your opinion on mental illness or depression?
It's just people who, they don't have faith. They don't have faith. I've never met anybody who says their 5 prayers every day, who is eating halal food, who's staying away from haram, who's doing right by their family, who's trying their best to do the right thing every day, who's working out every day. Those people aren't depressed. It's just not a thing. So I think just depression is a lack of, there's a lot of reasons why people think they're depressed, but I think the biggest reason is just a lack of faith. If you hold your faith, like, true to your heart and you look to God for guidance, you're never gonna be depressed.
Yeah, depression is also a luxury of people in first world countries, because when you gotta put food on the table and you gotta provide for a family, there's no depression. Right. First off, secondly, depression is also just it's a signal from your body telling you that something's not right. Your life's shit, you're eating wrong, you're doing bad things, you're not serving God, similar to everything that you said. I think mental illness is bullshit. I think that mental illness is an excuse for you to take the power out of you, and the power is from within. The power lays within your tongue and your thoughts. And the moment they castrate you like that, you lose all your power.
Yeah, they told you that it's a chemical imbalance, and like that gives away your power. Now you're not responsible for being a failure. Like, it's your fault that you're a loser. Whatever's happening in your life, whatever incompetence that you're showing to the world, it's your fault. And if you don't internalize that, then you're just going to keep on losing. So don't believe any of that. As soon as you get rid of that mindset, which again is part of the programming, as soon as you get rid of that, you can start succeeding. It's not possible for me to be depressed. It's not possible. It's never going to happen. It's not possible.
Same.
Well, people, if you're ever depressed, you got to do a quick audit on your life. You're eating foods that are bad for you, listening to music that are bad for you, hanging around with people that drain you of your life force energy. So there's things that you can do, but depression is just a big lack of purpose. 100%.
There's a lot of people that don't even know what it's like to be sober. I've realized that too. Like people who say they're depressed all the time, like a lot of them are in therapy. They're on antidepressants. They're smoking weed. They're on different types of anti-anxiety medication. And if you ever ask these people, like, have you just tried being sober? And I've had a conversation with somebody like, have you ever been sober? And they realize from that conversation that in their adult life, they had never been sober.
Wow.
Like not even just weed or alcohol, but they've never been off an antidepressant, an anti-anxiety medication, out of therapy, Adderall. Like they've never been fully sober. They've never been just living life the way you're supposed to live it. And that's going to be the number one cause of your depression or whatever's going on in your brain. Figure out where you're at sober. And then you could and then you could see where you're actually at mentally. You're not going to be able to know your real self. You're not going to be able to realize what's going on in here if you're taking 10 different drugs.
100%. What was the hardest part of your career, getting to where you are now? What was the hardest part where you're just like, fuck, I want to give up right now, but you kept going?
The hardest part was definitely, they still call me a YouTuber, which is like the most frustrating thing of all time. Like the YouTube is Sneako is why was he fighting? Like I'm not. You're the YouTuber. Stop. I've been banned for a year and a half. It's like since 2022. I would say it was that. It was. I had just moved to Miami because I started making a lot of money streaming, and then they immediately they canceled me, and it was like, what do I do now? Like I'm a YouTuber. This is what I've dedicated my life to, and I don't have access to my YouTube channel. So getting over that and then going over to Rumble, and restarting from that point, getting canceled and thinking like, what now? That was probably the hardest part, but I've done it.
What's the next, 2-3 years look like for Sneako? What's in the what's in the works? What's the game plan?
The game plan is to continue taking over streaming, and I'm doing, I'm on a good path to do that. I've built a strong community. I want to keep on making the best content possible. Seek truth through funny is my motto, making sure that I'm entertaining and that I'm adding something different. I'm having difficult conversations. I'm doing good interviews, traveling the world. All that's extremely important. And then also taking MMA really seriously. I think boxing is kind of on the downward spiral. I think MMA is the future. Boxing is a little bit played out, and MMA is like, that's true fighting. So it's the closest sport to true fighting. So I want to get an MMA fight. I want to start taking fighting like, extremely seriously. And then from there, transition into being a full entrepreneur, full businessman. Because right now I am, I really am, but I want to be that international businessman where I don't have to do content the way I'm doing now, where I can, I could work on my businesses and not fully rely on content creation, and then go into movies. I think when I'm 35.
I love that. With that being said, is it the Sneako brand? Is it just you, or do you have a team behind the scenes?
I got a big team. One of my guys here, Needles. I got Bronson. My guy Waze. Got a new manager, 98, and set this up. I have a lot of different clippers, editors. I have different accountants. My family works with me too. I have a really big team. And I think it's imperative. I'm sure you guys do too. I think it's imperative to have a really strong team that you can rely upon. But yeah, I have a great team.
Wow.
Team is everything. You can't win this war alone. I mean, we truly start seeing success when we found the right partners. And obviously along the way, I'm sure you've been through your fair share of partners or people that you're around. You cycle through them because you realize people either don't have the same interests or they're not aligned as you. Did you have similar experiences to that?
Oh, yeah. I just fired Waze, for example, one of my editors. I fired him 2 days ago and I just rehired him last night. I've went through a lot of different guys. There's been a lot of people to come and go to figure out who you work with really well. Needles were working really well recently. We spent a lot of time together, and it's just, you got to find somebody that you could seamlessly work with. I recommend, and the reason I think I fired Waze and then rehired him is because he's older than me. I think you need young, hungry guys. I recommend, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to have a good team, I think it's better to have somebody who's a couple years younger. Needles, for example, is 19, and that's because a lot of that ego is left away. Where I went wrong with my employees is having guys that are older than me, and they see you as like on the same level. And if they're working for you, you simply like little things where you need them to assist you. There's going to be like this friendship problem. And if they get too close, and if they see you too much as friends rather than, employee, then it's going to mess up. So you have to find that perfect balance where you can leave the ego aside and realize like, okay, we need to seamlessly work together in order to get to the same goal. And if we're both on the same page about that, then we're both going to win. We're both going to make money, and we're both going to sustain.
That's amazing. What's your, I heard you say that you work with your family. Who specifically in your family? What's your relationship like with your family? And what does family mean to you?
Family's everything. Family is everything to me. And yeah, I don't want to get too specific about like what they do, but a lot of my family works with me, and we have a very good relationship, and I'm blessed to have a healthy, happy family.
God bless, bro. I mean, that's the biggest, I said on another podcast before that fuck the money, fuck the watches, fuck the cars, fuck the vacations. My biggest thing that makes me rich is my relationship with my family. My mom's my best friend. My grandma's my best friend. They're both retired, living in Costa Rica, and that was my number one goal. Before, when I made a mill, I didn't go buy a Lambo. I didn't go buy none of that stupid shit. I still don't even have a Lambo or any crazy car. I drive a Benz. But that's why I'm able to give my mom $5-10 a month. That's why my mom could travel, because time's only currency. And I think we need to start a new movement where all these fucking guys making money and their mom and dad is still working. You're a fucking pussy. You're a bitch. You are a failure as a man. And it is your job to take care of your family if they want it. Obviously, if your family loves their job, they have their own business, and they don't want to work, I mean, they still want to keep working. That's completely fine. But we need to start pushing a new message and a new trend where let's retire our family. Let's take care of the people that took care of us.
How did you deal with that? I'm just curious. Did your family ever have any problems like, okay, well, I don't want to work for my son?
Well, so my family doesn't really work for me.
Not even that. Like, I don't want to rely on my son.
Yeah. So yeah.
Where you have that threat, like if you're giving your family like $5 to $10K a month, where it could be like, okay, well, I don't like this. Let me take away that.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever have that?
I was raised by a single mother, so we have a very special bond and relationship. And in the beginning, I was making, $100K a month when I was about to retire my mom, $50 to $100K a month. And I said, Mom, like, let me retire you. And she was working. She's like, no, like she'd be working for another 13 years before retirement. So I saved her 13 years. But I said, Mom, what do you need? Because a lot of people's parents, I mean, you're their son. And I was 23 at the time I did it. And she didn't necessarily believe. So I had to show her. I said, okay, while you're working, let me give you $5K a month for 6 months. Once I do that, then you could quit and rely on me. And obviously, my mom knows who I am. She knows I would never let her down. I would kill for my mom. I would go, if she was hungry, I would go kill someone to feed her. That's how I am. That's just how I am as a man. And it was a challenge. I mean, especially from my past, I was an ex-drug dealer. I was like a bad kid growing up. And, being in that industry, I was the black sheep of the family. First dropout, but also first millionaire. And the hardest part was gaining that trust from my family to show them that I could do this. But then once you get there and once you start providing for them, it's a never-ending cycle of just, this is my duty. And I believe as a man, once you place those responsibilities on yourself to provide, because we're 24, 25, we don't need to provide for our families yet. It's not normal to provide for your family at this age. But when you take on that responsibility, you go 10 times harder because now you got a family to feed. And I think that is where your purpose, my purpose stems from.
I like that you said you're a pussy and you're a bitch if you don't provide for your family. One thing that's really helped me stay at the top and continue to grow every single day is comparing myself to the top level people, right? Like, so I didn't even realize that until you just said it. I forgot that it's not normal to provide for your family, retire your parents at that age. But I'm always comparing myself to the most successful guys in my bracket. I don't even see people who are not operating at the top 0.01% of people. So if you're only comparing yourself to them, like, okay, why is this person my age? Don't get jealous when you see somebody the same age and from the same place doing better than you. Analyze why, and then figure out, and then you should be able to compare yourself. And comparison is the thief of joy. So don't get jealous, but think like, okay, but he's successful. He figured it out. What is he doing that I'm not doing? And that should motivate you. It shouldn't detract from you. And you shouldn't have any negative thoughts in your brain. Push that out and think of it and analyze why that person is doing what you're not.
Well said. My thoughts on that, man. Yeah, absolutely. I retired my mom before. I tried to retire my dad, but unfortunately he had passed. But what happened was I was planning to retire both of them, and as soon as my dad passed, the responsibility for my mom went over to me. And definitely I could have bought a car 2 or 3 times, and I was like, nah, She needs another house. She needs a car. Let me be that responsible party for my little brothers and be that role model that I'm not sitting in a Lamborghini while my mom is worried about 10 grand a month, you know? So definitely wasn't even a hesitation. That's kind of like that priority that's set with people like us. Like, we didn't hesitate. It wasn't a conversation like, should I? Nah, I was like, all right, let's do this. And then when the time comes, we'll get our Lambos, no worries.
100%, inshallah.
I don't even want like flashy stuff anymore. Do you like? Are you still on that?
I mean,
What happened
I
now?
like luxury,
Yeah.
like personally. Like,
Yeah,
I don't care to have chains or like you'll never see me wearing a diamond watch. All my shit's factory. You'll never see me like I value experiences, like you said at the beginning of the podcast. So I travel all the time. I travel with my family. But for me, the flashy things are for me, like driving in a Rolls Royce or driving in my SF90 that I'm going to get, inshallah. You know, that to me is for me. It's not for other people. It's just I always dreamed of driving nice cars. I always dreamed of living in villas. I always dreamed of traveling the world. That's my ideal life. But I do it for me, which is important, not to do it for other people.
It's a delicate balance, but go ahead.
What do you mean it's a delicate balance?
A delicate balance, you know, like people are attached to the material, but you can be detached at the same time and still allow it into your space, you know? The more you want something, sometimes it fleets you, and then that's why people's priorities change. That's why you see people with, you know, $50,000 watch, but then $5K in their bank account. So in that situation, it's like, hey, you really got to get your shit in order. But once you make, you know, 10, 15, 20 million, and you want to buy a car that's 500K, nothing wrong with it, especially when the circle of energy is still spreading, and you're still giving and giving back to the world, and, you know, doing your philanthropy and stuff like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with having, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, that desire, like as of late, has of course, like when I have enough to where it's not even a second thought. But everything I want to do right now, I just want to spend my money on building, you know, on real estate. I don't even
Same boat.
So it's left.
Bro, if we focus in our 20s, we could have a very nice 30s. Like my goal is to grind in my 20s, build my empire, still build in my 30s. I'm not going to fucking stop, but it's like then I could truly focus on being a good father in my 30s, where I could spend all the time with my kids because I don't got to go to the office, go to these meetings because I set up the systems in place in my 20s to be able to have my 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, you know? But before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, what would you tell to the viewers, you know, if somebody that's getting started, you know, I'm sure you have a big demographic of those types of people that are very hungry, ambitious, and young. What's some advice that you would give to them to get to where we are?
I think we covered it this whole podcast, man. It's just if you don't know what you want to do, like, the best step is to start getting in the gym every single day, and then immediately think about like anything you're doing that's a waste of time and that's bringing your energy levels down. And one really crucial part is not even having negative language in your vocabulary anymore. I think that's one that I don't hear spoken about enough. And I think back to my college days, people would always make these jokes, like these retards in my dorm, like, oh, I want to kill myself. Like, oh my God, like I literally want to kill myself.
Or like I'm dead. Oh my God.
Like I'm dead. Like, yeah, talking like that, like, oh, this is I'm so done. Like, just like always. And they kind of like bond over like how much of a loser they were, like
how negative they can get.
Oh, this is so. I'm just like, let's just kill me, like, and they're just like,
and it's the most minor thing, right? Minor inconvenience.
Yeah.
The Starbucks you got the order wrong. Oh my God, I'm done.
Just get away from those people. Stop
Facts.
saying that. The only thing that should come out of your mouth should be positive, and you're gonna notice a giant difference in your energy levels and your focus and your beliefs. Because like what you think is how you act. What you think is what you do. If you're thinking, I'm gonna kill
All right.
what's gonna happen? Like,
It's subconscious programming yourself.
stop programming yourself with that nonsense. Like, get that out.
Amazing. Okay, well, Sneako, thank you so much for coming by today. We had a great conversation with you.
literally gonna kill myself.
And we look forward to seeing you again.
Podcast.
Oh, you're killing me. Anyways, wrap that up.
You just said you're killing me. You
Oh,
just said
shit,
it.
fuck.
God.
You made me laugh,
I hate this.
bro. All right. Thank you so much for coming on, man. You're a great guest.
Whatever.
It changes the whole mood. He's right.
Yeah, facts.